when the information came to me that changed everything, I did not waffle. I made a 180-degree change and moved in another direction and worked consistently for the last 4 months to move us in the one way that I knew how to bring change about. Unfortunately, the IAPD rule book nor the board manual has really any help for a park district that finds itself in the situation we did. And the only thing there, the legal maneuver, was to make sure to bring us into line with the IAPD rule book with officers there for 1 year instead of 2, and then make it retroactive. That I brought up at the February meeting, but I had not had a chance to talk to Mary or Larry so that they would understand why I was doing this. After that, I talked to our legal counsel, and then they did understand why. So this could happen. The whole focus was to move us forward in the right direction. And that's happened tonight. And the whole idea with all of this is now to close the door on, or the page on the chapter of some very unfortunate things that happened, and to move this park district forward. And that is what it's all about. And I'm so happy to see everybody here tonight, and to have our new president here, and to have Rich Grodsky here. This is, and to all the wonderful people, every single one of you employees here whom I know so well. And so grateful. So, thank you again.
Thank you.
I want to thank the community for your support throughout this these past few months, and also to congratulate both Mary and Janet. And I would ask that that we as a community give Janet the benefit of the doubt and allow her to prove herself in her actions going forward.
Yes. Well, like welcome our new director, interim at that, and realizing the big headaches that are in presently and from the past in regards to things and setting things straight in regards to guiding us in the right direction, in regards to the conditions of our parks, basically, which are basically in very sad shape. But hopefully we can set up some kind of programs and looking at those matters to get these problems fixed as quickly as possible. But knowing the fact the public will like quick changes, and unfortunately the park districts are in extreme bad shapes in regards to equipment, and there's violations out there in regards to which are shown in regards to reflecting the manners of the park, and it's considered in regards to the matters of ADA violations. There's close to over 1,600 or more violations outstanding since 2011, and they be rectified as quickly as possible. And those are key means of regards to safety of our conditions of our parks. So anybody out there would like to for you and look at those matters yourself, but these are the true facts of the matters, and these have been going on too long. It needs to be resolved, and hopefully with the interim director, he can make strides to get things prepared for the new director to get these park districts back in shape, not leave them in basically a somewhat unsafe condition, to my recollection in regards to the matters. So anybody can walk through the parks and look at the structures of the buildings, how deteriorated they are, and you have to wonder why, and why it's been going on so long. So that's all I have.
District legislative report.
This afternoon, the Senate Executive Committee voted on a 9-5 vote in favor of House Bill 5593. It now proceeds to the full Senate, and if it passes then, it'll go to the governor. We'll see whether or not he passes that or signs that or not. But that's it for legislation affecting us at this point.
The next item is action items. So seeking a motion to select the winner of the Norman Greenway Dog Park Naming Contest. Going to make a motion.
I'll make the motion that the Board of the Park Commissioners formally rename the Norman Greenway Dog Park to Daisy Dog Park to honor Daisy Roach and to name Emily McGar as runner-up.
Okay. And the second? Second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Sorry, my mind was wandering for a moment.
Any discussion?
Linda.
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Solosky.
Yes.
Stynes.
Could you repeat that, sir?
Motion carries.
Seeking a motion to reconsider or approve resolution 2014-12 showing support of the district for House Bill 5593.
Madam President, may I
Sure.
shed some light on this, but maybe help you as it relates to the agenda and some direction. The motion to reconsider is, in my estimation, not necessarily required from the perspective that under item C, the board would also be seeking a motion to approve the resolution, which would show support. There was no action taken, well, there was an action taken, but I don't believe, in this case, the legal counsel can certainly correct me if I'm wrong, a new motion to approve the resolution is appropriate in this case. I don't know that you actually need to reconsider at this point.
What I would suggest is have the motion to reconsider, and then that can be approved, and then we can address it.
If you'd rather do that,
That's okay.
either direction is fine. It's listed on your agenda, but in the future,
And that's fine.
yes, in the future, from a staff perspective, we will make sure that those things are resolved with the president, who helps the executive director put those things together, just from a parliamentary perspective.
And then it would need to be, that motion would need to be made by the party that was on the prevailing party.
Okay.
So it'd be-
I'll make a motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right. Any discussion?
Linda.
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Solosky.
Yes.
Stynes.
Nay.
Motion carries.
Okay, so everyone knows this is a motion showing that the board supports House Bill 5593. Okay, see.
No. That's a motion that you,
That's
to bring it back.
I jumped ahead.
Now, the
Now.
motion is, there you
Sorry,
go.
okay.
Now the motion is,
Now the motion is to see if the board
Could be.
supports, right?
that's the case.
So, does anyone want to make that motion?
I will make the motion that we approve resolution 2014-12.
Any second?
You can second and then discussion.
You have to second.
I will second it.
So there's discussion.
Any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to, I'm making some, my discussion on this is that it is known to a lot of people that I don't agree with this because I feel uncomfortable, not that we're not having, that we're growing and becoming a 7-member board, but I'm uncomfortable with the legislators, with political, the individuals being appointed, political appointee. However, with the unity and moving forward with this board, though I feel that way, when it comes time to vote, I will move in that direction.
Thank you. Larry?
Yes, I'd like to make a comment in regards to the two parties in regards to creating this legislation in regards to democracy and, like I said, in regards to giving the voters a fair chance to vote on these matters should be on one of the electric, voters, in regards to putting this and accepting it. Say having two people go out and more or less dictate the decision-making over 200,000 people in our township in regards to the matters. I think everybody should have a fair chance in regards to voting on this resolution and making it final with the majority wins. In regards to the matters, I believe that the board itself should actually appoint 2 more members, but that will be coming up and see how that votes out. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call.
Lumen.
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Solowski.
Yes.
Stein.
Nay.
Motion carries.
So the comment I made before is now accurate. That this vote shows that the park board does support House Bill 5593. So the next item was seeking a motion to remove Resolution 2014-13, a resolution to increase the size of the board from 5 to 7 members from the table.
You'd be removing it from the table.
We tabled it last time, so we're
Take action.
moving to remove.
First, you have to,
Right.
if you want to take action or hold it or whatever, if you're planning to take action, you need to take it from the table. Okay.
I'll make that motion.
If you don't mind, let me just finish, just so you have the options and whatnot. So if you want to take it from the table, you need a motion to do that. If you want to hold the item, you also have the option to keep it on the table, should the board wish to do that. So I just want to lay out the options for you so that you're
Right.
clear as to what, from a legal perspective, you have to choose.
And then one of the reasons to hold it would be to see if House Bill 5593 actually becomes law.
That may be a very good reason to hold it at this particular point in time. The fact of the matter is whether you've shown support for the bill. Of course, as it was earlier discussed, House Bill 5593, as Commissioner Newton points out, it'll have a process now to go to the full Senate, which they will have to do a reading of it twice. Once that occurs, as Commissioner Newton noted, the governor has 90 days because it's got to go through, the bill goes through engrossing to make sure that it's matched up in the right sections of the state statutes, which are then translated to the Park District Code. So, 90 days is 90 days. If for some reason the governor chose not to sign the bill, I'm not saying you will or you won't, I just don't, who knows. Then I think it's advisable that the board take action on the next item, but that's up to the board's pleasure on how you want to proceed.
Isn't there a time limit on a table?
I don't know if you placed the time limit on the table.
We did not. I just thought there was a.
Then there is no time line on the table. In many cases, elected bodies put a timeline on a table so that it can either sometimes they sunset, sometimes they're brought back in time. It just depends on what the body has chosen to do as part of the deliberative process.
So we have 2 choices. We could either go forward with this or hold on to it until we see how the House bill progresses.
So depending on how fast do we want new members to be put on to the board.
Well, the fact of the matter is, if this resolution, if House Bill 5593 is approved, goes through the final approval process, governor signs it, based on that legislation, those members, 2 members, could be appointed immediately. In the case of you passing a resolution to increase the size of your board, that would not take effect until your elections in April of 15. So either way, you're going to get board members. The board would increase the size of the board would increase from 5 to 7 members. The question is, does it happen earlier or later?
And in this case here, for us voting, if we decide to vote this in, creates it earlier.
Well, it depends, quite frankly, as it relates to the law. Generally, state law supersedes local law. So I guess I'll advise you of that. I'll advise you of that.
Thank you.
That state law would supersede local.
But this resolution would guarantee it, no matter
well, I would guarantee that we're going to have 7 members.
Well, yeah.
And it won't affect the legislation, no.
No, it will
Yeah, what
not.
about the legislation? All it's going to do is, and there's a time frame in the statute by which we are expanding from 5 to 7. That's what it wants to do. It only has to be 60 days before the election. So in other words, if we did it 60 days before the April election, we're fine. And it would be 7 days before that.
Here's what I would maybe suggest to you all, is that you would just hold this, see what happens on the Senate side and the governor's side. As soon as you know what that is, you're going to have a clear direction as to whether you need to do this as a backup, just in case the governor were to decide it. So I think you've got some time on this one, quite frankly.
Okay, legality-wise, what's the difference between doing it now and versus, say, he likes it being superseded by, but once you the Senate? So what's the difference? You know, one way it's showing us that we're aggressively trying to make actions in regards to getting 2 more members on board, you know, to be, in a helpful fashion, and versus, waiting until it dies.
Sure.
Is it possible?
No,
Maybe now.
And that makes sense. I mean, but it sounds like the time frame in which they're moving forward with this legislation is that the action on it's going to be fairly quick, but it would certainly be before the April election.
Here's the reason why it'll move quickly. This is the end of the legislative session, so they're wrapped up in budget. They're trying to clear their plates at this point in time. So these kinds of issues, as they pass out of committee on the Senate side, they like to move forward on these pretty quickly at this point. They will wrap up the session towards the end of this month. So, I mean, that's the goal, to get the budget approved by the end of the month. Once that happens, if this is not approved, 5593, what will happen is the sponsor has the option of asking for this bill to come back in the veto session. If it comes back in the veto session, it takes a supermajority to pass the bill. So I'm guessing, since it's already cleared the House, that the Senate is likely to take a similar action because they don't like dealing with things in the veto session, quite frankly.
Okay, next question is in regards to, as rumors go around, in regards to the possibility of placing a lawsuit against being unconstitutional, in regards to that, process that goes, it's been going on.
And that's,
in regards to that, and we're still waiting in regards to try to get, 2 more members on board.
well, certainly, one of the things you talked before about was that possibility. The fact that the legislation might be attacked because of the constitutionality, because it is what some people call targeted legislation as to a specific issue. So yeah, it could be challenges for sure. Even if it was, and even if we decided to move forward with our resolution to go from 5 to 7, we certainly have time to do that. In other words, if we chose to not take it off the table tonight and allow that process to go forward, we could come back in, June, July, August, September, October, November to pass our resolution to get 7 members, to get those 2 additional members elected in the April election.
Well, that's my point, is we'll try to get the, at least, time fashion in regards to getting.
Sure, no,
members on
understood.
board.
And I think it's clear with our passage of that last resolution that this board supports the House bill that's currently out there. So in other words, the board supports the House bill for going 5 to 7. I know there's issues with the ways that we get from 5 to 7, as Mr. Slosky just stated. And I know you voted against it as well. But the fact that the board supports the resolution shows our support for it. And so, anybody that I think everybody understands that, and we've made this discussion before, that this board has said that they want to go from 5 to 7. It's just the way in which we get there.
Exactly.
Okay? And so, but again,
It's a
it's a
constitutional open matter, so that's all.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. And it's the board's pleasure, however you guys want to do it.
Thank you.
Yep. So there's no motion.
No motion.
Well, I mean,
Well,
you don't have
well,
to.
we gotta
I'm saying we don't
So
have
that's
to.
what we need to
You
find
need to
out.
find out.
There you go.
Okay. So what is everybody thinking?
So we have the option to take it off the table or not.
Right.
Well, my proposal is, let us vote on it and set things right in place, and regardless, whatever state legislation is going to supersede, is going to, take it over regardless. But if it's all set in place, it's one less thing for us to deal with. We're knowing the fact that, 2 members are coming one way or another, sooner or later.
The board will expand based on the discussion. It's just just a matter, as you say.
Time-wise.
So if you want to consider the resolution, based on an earlier discussion this evening, because it's on the agenda, somebody's gonna have to move to take it off the table, so that it's off the table. And then the next motion would be E, which is if somebody was their pleasure to make a motion to approve the resolution, then that would have to occur.
It's all depending on, also they want the members on board.
So, I mean, there's a, you can call it,
Right, is
Mr.
there a
President, there's a motion. So if you want to make a motion, Mr. Sines, you can do that. I mean,
Yeah, motion,
To take it off the table.
which one, regards, where's that?
This would be item D.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to seeking motion to remove this resolution number 2014-13, the resolution to increase the size of the board members from 5 to 7 members on the table.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Lumen. Newton.
No.
Solosky.
Yes.
Steins.
Okay.
So it will stay on the table.
It's on the table.
Okay. So then these are relevant at this point.
That's correct.
Okay. So we jump ahead then to F, seeking a motion to award the bid for the electric park multi-use path to deconstruction. Is there a motion?
I will make the motion that Board of Commissioners award the bid for the Plainfield Park District Electric Park multi-use path to deconstruction incorporating the amount of $469,853.
Is there a second? All right, discussion. Any discussion or questions?
Okay, back to my, always got a question in regards to, these guys can be followed up in regards to their quality of work. You know, we have an inspector
Yeah,
out there,
all the-
to make sure they're not, basically ADA compliant, my concern is.
The bids were put together with all considerations, including ADA. They've done their due diligence, and
And hopefully they'll follow through.
on a note, as it relates to deconstruction, I have worked with them in the past in other park districts. They do fine work.
All right, perfectly close.
That'd be great.
No. Those next.
Lumen.
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Solosky.
Yes.
Steins.
Okay.
Motion carries.
All right, item G, seeking a motion to approve resolution 2014-14, the transfer of properties from Will County to the Plainfield Township Park District. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
In a second.
Second.
Any discussion?
I wanted to know the Weller Drive properties, do we have any particular use for those at this point? I understand the process of we're the takeout agent for the county on this project and whatnot, but is there any particular use or is this just land banking issue at this
I
point?
think at this point it's land banking.
Well, if I could, just, the Weller Road parcels, one of the concepts that was kind of discussed a while ago was possible river access. There's also a standalone lot out there that would be considered for a top lot. There are no negative parts in that area, so that's something that we consider.
But in terms of one of those actions move forward, they'd be part of a capital improvement plan that we would lay out hopefully for the next 10 years of the district. So while the attorney is absolutely correct at this point, it's just putting the land aside.
Can you put my, okay. The question in regards to these properties has already been checked out, soil sample developed in regards to contaminants before taken over by the village.
No, actually, I can't answer that question, sir. We can get that for you.
Okay. And also, any floodplain situation there.
That's why they're being demolished.
Right.
They're off the
They're off the field, yeah.
So, in regards to future developments on these lands, we're taking them over. Based on Corps of Engineers approval in regards to future developments of these lands, can we do anything on this land? You know, you don't know. Trails may not even be acceptable.
You can't.
But, yeah, so, Corps of Engineers can say nay on anything. Believe me.
The plan is that we put a trail.
Right.
If approvals are required from the Corps of Engineers, if they are approved,
Right.
which
Which would need to be checked out beforehand, before it's,
of course, well, actually, Commissioner, no.
no?
You don't have to accept the properties as the motion talks about. If we find during the process of planning the park that there are parts of it that are, that need mediation of some sort, the answer simply is you don't do the work at that point. There be, an environment, a stage one environmental consideration is not necessary for you to accept the property. It would be absolutely essential during the planning process to make sure that the plans that have been discussed can move forward.
Okay, I'm just in regards to these plans you discussed or brought up, was these matters investigated yet? Or before we go into accepting these properties and finding out later that we need major cleanup, because we discovered, after the fact of contaminated land. And this will be the holder of this property and responsible for this cleanup.
These are residential parcels that were.
I understand, and there's contaminants on residential properties.
No, we did not do the phase one, we don't intend to do the phase one. At least that's what I understand.
And
What's that?
And would it be wise to do so in regards to protecting the interest of the park and the taxpayers?
For a phase one for residential property, that's not standard.
Well, what I'm saying is that until we fall into a situation where we're running a piece of property, we accept it,
Right.
and it's going to cost us a ton of money, what are you going to say then?
All I'm telling you is that it's not standard to do a phase one when you accept, when you buy residential property, you don't do a phase
I'm
one.
saying, why can't we go ahead?
If that's what the board wants us to do, we
If
should do that.
For protection in the future in regards to any stuff for major cleanups. You know what I'm getting at?
Actually, I'm not sure what you're doing, but the reality of it is phase ones, residential situations are generally not done because you can accept any property and it depends whether it's residential or not. The reality of it is you don't know what's there, where it's at. If you do soil borings, you don't know where it's at necessarily until such time that you open up the ground. And I'm going to give you an example. In another life, we accepted property and purchased property in Elmhurst to develop a 65-acre park. We did a phase one environmental and it showed absolutely nothing until we opened the ground survey. And then we found that there was an oil tank in the ground from a residential home. Now the reality of it is, because of the way insurance pools work, those are usually covered in insurance claims that you would pay the deductible to make sure that it was remediated properly.
Okay, I'll be protected with some kind of insurance on this?
I'm guessing that iParks has got, I'm guessing that iParks has some type of environmental coverage, as do most risk pools that deal with municipal corporations, just for those purposes.
I'll just say this, Alan. We're working about wise and
I understand your concerns,
Okay.
but quite honestly, in this particular case, your development is probably not going to happen for a number of years, quite honestly.
So in this case, sir, there was only strictly residential homes on there, it was cleaned up properly.
That's what's advised by the attorney. Yes.
Okay.
These are properties that were bought by the county that they're transferring us. It's something that maybe began prior to,
It was that whole flood program where
Correct.
they were buying flood
Right.
properties and
right.
demolishing the homes on them and turning them over to
I
us.
understand what.
Us and the forest producers are our partners.
Other questions? The Bentley parcels, it looks like there's 6 parcels between Bentley and the river, and 5 of them are listed here. Is there one holdout?
I think there was one home though.
And we show the trail going in the backyard.
Those things can always.
I understand, I know, I'm just,
That's-
I understand that, I just, I think that,
It's too enticing, it's too enticing to pay.
when and if we ever built that trail, I would rather see it on Bentley. And also the brown parcel is a big, large open space there. They've not indicated any support or any indication that they're willing to work with any of the governmental bodies for preservation of open space. So just so you're aware of that too.
Right.
No, I'm satisfied.
All right, I guess we're ready for a vote.
Okay, so the motion was to approve resolution 2014-14.
Yes.
Roll call. Ludeman.
Yes.
Ludeman.
Yes. Yes.
Solosky.
Yes.
Stiles.
Nay.
Motion carries.
Have some items. The items.
It's already, it says adjournment.
Well, then I have one item for new business. I'd like to form a committee to go over our board policy manual and our employee policy manual, just to review them and make sure there aren't any updates that are needed. My thoughts for the committee were Rich, Matt, and Larry, if you're interested. See what Rich thinks of the committee.
Pleasure of the president.
All right.